Pittsburgh, PA, the city of champions. Pittsburgh has 3 professional sports teams. Pittsburgh Steelers, who have won 6 Super Bowls. Pittsburgh Pirates have won 5 World Series. And the Pittsburgh Penguins have won 5 Stanley Cups. But why doesn't Pittsburgh have a professional basketball team? That's the question I'm here to answer. I have 2 reasons for you: population and history. Pittsburgh's population is 304,000 people. If Pittsburgh did have all 4 sports leagues, the city would have the smallest population of all 13 cities with 4 or more professional sports teams. One of the major reasons why Pittsburgh doesn't have a pro basketball team is because the market simply can't withstand a 4th team. According to Business Weekly, based on the population of Pittsburgh should only be able to withstand 2 sports teams, but since the city is so sports crazy, a 3rd team isn't a problem. But the most interesting possibility is based off sports history. Not too many people know this, but Pittsburgh did have a professional basketball team all the way back in 1946. The Pittsburgh Ironmen are one of the founding teams of the BAA, the Basketball Association of America. And if you know your basketball history, then you know that the BAA is now known as the NBA. Yes, Pittsburgh had a founding team in the NBA. But the Ironmen were so miserable, the team went 15-45 and only lasted 1 year. Now is 1967. 21 years later, the Steelers are established in the city. They're terrible, but established because of their gritty style play. The Steelers went 4-9-1 in 1967, and the Pirates went 81-81, missing the playoffs. But Pittsburgh decided to create 2 sports teams in this year: the Pittsburgh Penguins, which everybody loves, and the Pittsburgh Pipers in 1967. Pittsburgh again was a founding city of a new basketball league, this time the American Basketball Association, the ABA. The Pittsburgh Pipers hit the ground running, winning the league's very first championship in ABA history in 1967. The team had the league's MVP, Basketball Hall of Famer Connie the Hawk Hawkins, while the Penguins went a lousy 27-34-13. But for some reason, the Pipers moved to Minnesota, so Pittsburgh was again without a pro basketball team. After the Pipers won 36-42 in Minnesota during the 1968 season, the Pipers moved back to Pittsburgh, but this time without Connie Hawkins, who moved on to the NBA. Also in 1968, Mr. Rogers started the air in Pittsburgh. Just a fun fact. Now back in Pittsburgh, the Pipers won 29-55 in the 1969 season. The following year, 1970, Pittsburgh rebranded the team as the Pittsburgh Condors. Why a bird? Who knows? Doesn't make any sense, but we're going to move on. In 1970, the Condors went 36-48, and in 1971, they went 25-59. And by the 1972, the team was gone, the same year as the Immaculate Reception, which spurred the Steelers dynasty. Only if the team stayed in Pittsburgh for a few more years. The entire city was about to explode with championships in the 70s. The Steelers would win 4 Super Bowls in 1974, 75, 78, and 79. The Pirates would win 2 World Series in 1971 and 1979, and the Penguins wouldn't win their first Stanley Cup until 1991. Or if the Pipers stayed in Pittsburgh, will the Penguins have to draw the short straw and leave the city as the 4th team? What if Connie Hawkins ever went to the NBA, where he ended up peaking and becoming a Hall of Famer? I guess we'll never know, but all I know is it would be really nice to have a basketball team in the neighborhood.